All right. Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi landed there local time. It was Tuesday night. Our time, it was Tuesday morning, of course. So today, sometime within the 24 hours that make up Tuesday, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, arrived in Taiwan. And this was against Chinese warnings that Pelosi should not visit because Beijing claims that Taiwan is its territory. And so the whole thing, again, sets the stage for this escalation and tension between China and the United States. So here we are again. Pelosi lands in Taiwan, defying Chinese warnings of forceful response. Woo! All these years later. Incredible. So Pelosi's visit has just pissed off the Chinese leadership tremendously. China has for years been trying to isolate Taiwan diplomatically, at least. And the Chinese see such visits from high-level foreign dignitaries as support for Taiwanese independence. And then, as the Washington Post reports, quote, the Chinese Communist Party claims Taiwan, which is a self-governing democracy that is home to 23 million people, as its territory, despite never having ruled it. And then the Post also says, Chinese leader Xi Jinping has pledged to reunify Taiwan with China by force, if necessary. And the political fact is that Taiwan has never been a part, or Formosa, whatever you want to call it, it's never been a part of China. China has never ruled it. The Japanese did, but you don't hear the Japanese claiming Taiwan, do we? No. So just after Speaker Pelosi landed at Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, the official news agency of China, that would be the Xinhua. I know, my pronunciation is just useless. I do my best. Xinhua news agency that released an announcement from the PLA, People's Liberation Army. That's the organization that slaughtered hundreds of people at Tiananmen Square in 1989. But the People's Liberation Army released an announcement that, quote, important military training operations and live ammunition drills will take place in 6 areas surrounding Taiwan between Thursday and Sunday after Pelosi leaves. But it's a warning. It's a warning primarily to the United States and secondarily to the Taiwanese. Okay, so you had Miss Nancy come visit you. Don't think for a minute that changes the objective and goal of the dear leader, Xi Jinping. Eventually, we will take you back. Now, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs denounced Pelosi's visit as, quote, a serious violation of the One China principle and the provisions of the Three China-U.S. Joint Communique. China firmly opposes and sternly condemns this and has made serious démarches and strong protests to the United States. Ooh. Oh, my. So now we have another nuclear-armed enemy. What do we have now? 3, soon to be 4. Because the Iranians are getting very close to having their own nuclear weapon. But right now we have Russia and China and North Korea. And right after Speaker Pelosi landed, she issued a statement. In part, it said, quote, our congressional delegation's visit to Taiwan honors America's unwavering commitment to supporting Taiwan's vibrant democracy. End quote. And she also defended her trip. She said this, quote, "Our visit is one of several congressional delegations to Taiwan, and it in no way contradicts longstanding United States policy guided by the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, U.S.-China joint communiques, and the 6 assurances." Jesus. "The United States continues to oppose unilateral efforts to change the status quo," end quote, which is an oblique way of saying we're not going to try to change anything, but you Chinese better not try to change anything either. The 6 assurances. I mean, that sounds almost Confucian, doesn't it? Or Buddhist? Now, what else? In a statement, I think it was Pelosi said she would be leading this delegation, this visit in Taiwan through Wednesday. And the focus, according to the official statement from Pelosi's office, the focus will be on U.S.-Taiwan relations, security, trade, the COVID-19 pandemic, the climate crisis, human rights, and other issues of mutual interest, end quote. And then there was a response to all this falderall. Not that I'm trying to minimize it, because I mean, there's a very good chance that the end of the world could have its initiation in the Formosa Straits, Quemoy, Matsu. Oh, wait, it's now called Taiwan. Taiwan's official Central News Agency reported that Taiwan's military forces reinforced their preparations this morning and would remain at what they're calling a strengthened state of readiness through midday Thursday. Now, midday Thursday is when the Chinese will begin their live fire exercises in the Straits of Taiwan, or Formosa, or Quemoy, or Matsu, whatever we want to call it. It's madness, isn't it? I mean, all this shit is madness. When I come across news items about the tension between China and the United States over Taiwan, and I think, son of a bitch, I have heard at least some sort of reference to this my entire goddamn life. And first it was the possibility of nuclear bombardment of China if they continued to fuck around with Quemoy and Matsu. Now, I'll guarantee you that 98% of anyone who listens to this podcast have never heard the names Quemoy and Matsu, which is not a slur on the people who listen to this podcast. It just means it was so goddamn long ago. And here we are, all these years later. I remember hearing about this in the 1950s. In the 1950s. Oh. And it's still going on. It's still going on. And you know, one of the things that really, I don't know if irritate is the right word to use. It does something to me. Irritates me, pisses me off, surprises me, shocks me, something. But at one time, the United States and Russia, the Soviet Union, were allies defeating European fascism under the leadership of the Nazi regime. And at another time, a matter of fact, during the same time, but different part of the war, the United States and China were allies defeating the fascist aggression in the Far East. What happened? I mean, well, it was capitalism versus communism in both instances. This global struggle to see which economic philosophy was going to dominate the planet. And the struggle continues. And neither Russia nor China are any longer communist countries. They still have some of the structure of communism, a Politburo, a great leader, divine leader in some instances, no arguing with what is decided, elections that are totally bullshit. But they're no longer communist. They are fascist/capitalist, or maybe capitalist/fascist. That's all. Just give me the money. I mean, who ever heard of billionaires in a communist country, right? But isn't it China that has the most per capita billionaires of any place on earth? And the largest actual number of billionaires are Chinese. And there's a whole clutch of billionaires in Russia. Well, wait a minute. Wait. That's not communism. Marx is spinning in his grave. Literally. Madness. All of it. Just like Colonel Kurtz said. The horror. The horror. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.